Hey folks, in this video we're going to be talking about our new integration between NX Cloud, which is our cloud product that we see on screen here, and our VS Code plugin called NX Console that we'll take a look at next. Now, if you're not familiar with NX Cloud is our cloud product that offers features like remote caching, distributed task execution, and integration with version control systems like GitHub. Now, if you want to know what those words mean, we could take a look by scrolling down a little bit. We can see here's our little animation for remote caching. As we can see, Taika here starts by running the command nx build, which takes them 5 seconds. That's a good time for a build. And by running that build, they're going to send the terminal output as well as the artifact created up to NX Cloud. And now when their teammates Kamiko and James try to run the same build with the same code, they're going to end up pulling that artifact as well as the logs from NX Cloud instead of running that build themselves, saving them a few valuable cycles. We can also see that the CI machine has access to NX Cloud as well, which is going to improve build times significantly. Now, in addition to remote caching, we mentioned distributed task execution. Distributed task execution, as we can see here, our CI pipeline is defined to run NX affected build, NX affected test, NX affected lint, and NX affected end-to-end. These instructions are handed to NX Cloud, so NX Cloud can orchestrate these 4 tasks against the affected packages for every PR that comes through the CI pipeline. So as we can see here, this particular setup is set up with 4 agents, and so NX Cloud is in charge of orchestrating the builds, the tests, the lints, and the end-to-end tests in a way that it's optimized for time, so that with 4 agents, we're roughly cutting the time of the CI pipeline down by a factor of 4. And what's particularly cool about this is very easy to scale horizontally. If we want to continue to decrease the time of our CI pipelines, all we really have to do is add a few more agents. It could end up costing us a little bit more money, but at the end of the day, it will save us more time, which means more developer cycles to get real work done and put less friction between our developers and their engineering iterations. Finally, our integration with version control systems like GitHub. As you create PRs, if your GitHub application is hooked up with the NX Cloud application on GitHub, and we'll see how to do this later on in this video, you'll be able to get a special message inside of each PR telling you the status of all of the tasks in your CI pipeline, as well as giving you links directly to where you can find full terminal logs for each one of these tasks. So let's go ahead and switch to VS Code and we can check this out in action. So I'm starting off with one of my side projects on screen. And if you're used to NX Console, this may look familiar, but with one interesting new feature added, which is this NX Cloud pane. Let me collapse the other ones here so we can take a look at this. So our NX Cloud pane is going to give us our 3 categories here, telling us whether we're hooked up to our remote cache. We can check this manually by going to the nx.json file and seeing what our test runner is. Here we can see we are set up to be running with the Narwhal NX Cloud task runner instead of the default NX task runner. We can also see I have a green dot here next to my distributed task execution, which means that NX Cloud can tell that our project is hooked up and already using distributed task execution according to the access token provided here inside of our nx.json file. And note, if we weren't set up yet and wanted to set this up, we can click on this button to take us to some helpful documentation on how to set that up. And finally, for the version control system integration, we can see I have a green dot here as well, and that's NX Cloud telling me that the GitHub project that I have set up is connected to NX Cloud, and NX Cloud is able to send updates directly to any PRs that I put up. In addition, we can see that it's showing me the last 20 runs I've done on this project. So we can see the last run I did was to test my UI forms package. If I click over here, I'll get taken directly to my NX Cloud project where I can see the run details for testing my UI forms. I can even see the output for this test being logged out. This is particularly helpful because I can also copy and paste this link to share this with a teammate in case something went wrong and we want to debug the logs. Note that the green light over here means that when I ran this command, I actually got a cache hit, which means that this task completed for me nearly instantly. Now, if we look at this next one, we can see that I have a gray dot here, which means I had a run failure when I tried to test all of the packages in my project. Let's take a look at that. So as we can see, I ended up trying to run 24 tests when I ran the command to run many with the target of tests. And if we scroll down, we can see all of the individual targets being run by themselves, and I can also filter to successes and to failures here as well. And as we had seen before, I can expand one of these, and it will expand to show me the full log so I can see exactly what went wrong with each of these. And by clicking the full page view link here at the top, I get a shareable link that I can share to someone else in my organization if I wanted to look through these logs with them. And we can see if I were to run this command again, and when they completed, I'd be able to see the latest run here in my Runs tab. Now, this could be helpful in terms of giving us a heads up of all the tasks that are being run on our workspace, which could be an interesting heads up way of letting you know what your teammates are working on. Now that we've seen this working, let's try setting it up with a fresh repo. I've got a terminal here, and I'll run npx create nx workspace. I'll go for integrated repo, and we'll just make a React one for now. Call it demo. CSS, and when it asks us this question, this is actually asking us if we want to set up NX Cloud. I'll hit no, and it'll go out and install our dependencies and set up our initial scaffolding for us. We'll check in once that completes. All right, so it just finished up, so I'm just going to cd into our demo directory and open up VS Code here. And as soon as it opens up, I'm going to go to our NX console tab, make that a little bit bigger, and we'll collapse some of these other tabs. And we can see, since we're not set up yet with NX Cloud, I can click on this button to set up our new demo project with NX Cloud. And that's all it takes. If we take a look at our source control tab here, we can see this made a change to our nx.json to switch our task runner from the default runner to the Narwhal Cloud runner like we had seen before, and it also gave us an access token. If we go back to the NX console tab here, we can click this button to claim our workspace, claim it for my personal account. And if I open up the NX Cloud app in a browser now, we can see my demo project is right here. No runs yet. But as the tab says here, we could try running a test. Let's go ahead and just run that. That'll open up a terminal here and run our demo test for us. Since this is just the initial scaffolding that will pass, we can see right now it's just coming up with a yellow here. That's actually a cached miss. We hadn't mentioned that one yet, but that's what yellow means. And click the button, and that will take us to where we can see the success and the terminal output here. Coming back to VS Code, we can see if I create a fresh terminal here and just run the command npx nx test demo, that will now be cached. And if we were to refresh the NX Cloud tab, we can now see the green dot here for seeing that that task ran with a cache hit. So remote cache is all set up. Distributed task execution is a little bit more interesting to set up, so we'll check that in a future video. But we can show the VCS integration here. I can click the button. Took me right to the demo application in NX Cloud. I can select a platform here. I want GitHub. We can see we also support GitLab and Bitbucket, and the repository name is Zach DeRose Demo. So I'll hang on to this tab and I'll jump over to GitHub. I'll create a new repository here. Just call it demo, create repository, copy the snippet, and we'll come back to VS Code, drop that in the terminal, and come back to GitHub and refresh here, and we should see our project set up. At this point, I can hit continue here and say to use the GitHub app and test connection. Right now, it says I can't authenticate because the NX Cloud GitHub app is not installed for Zachdero/demo. And this is because of the way that GitHub applications work. If I create a new browser tab, I go to github.com/apps/nxcloud. We can see that I do have the application installed, and I can click this button to configure it further. If you don't have it installed yet, this button will actually look like a green install button that you can click here. Now, when I installed mine, I only installed it for a specific app. So by clicking configure, I get taken to the NX Cloud app page. And scrolling down, I can see permissions here. And you can see here, I have it only set to work for select repositories. You can also select all repositories here, but we'll just go ahead and add the demo app we just created. I'll hit save here. And coming back to the NX Cloud app now, we can test the connection and we can see we're connected. And last step, coming over to the NX Cloud, by hitting refresh here, we can see that nice green dot on VCS integration. So that's just about everything with our new NX Console, NX Cloud integration. Let us know what you think, if you like the runs feature, if you like the status feedback for the remote cache and DTE and VCS, and let us know what other crazy cool thing we could do that would really help you with your workflow. Shout out to my teammate, Max Kless, on my wall back there, for the great work he did on this feature. Looking forward to seeing the other stuff that we come along with NX Console and other cool news we might have coming for other IDEs as well. So let us know what you think. Stay tuned for more updates, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Peace.